Lyra moved silently through the crystal forest, her steps barely disturbing the sparkling ground. The trees were unlike anything she had ever seen, tall and translucent, catching the light of the twin suns and scattering it in every direction. The air hummed with energy, almost like the planet itself was alive. Her large violet eyes scanned the surroundings, every sense alert. Lyra had always been curious, but curiosity on this planet was dangerous. Many of the ruins hidden here were old and forgotten, and very few visitors were welcome. She paused, listening. There was a faint rustle behind her. Lyra froze, every muscle tense. Her instincts screamed to run, but something about the sound was different. It wasn't the usual wildlife. Her ears, sensitive to the smallest vibrations, caught a soft footstep, careful, deliberate, human-like. Lyra's heart beat faster. She slowly turned her head, and there he was, a human, tall, with pale skin and dark hair that fell into his eyes. He wore a simple suit, light but sturdy, with tools hanging from his belt. His eyes widened slightly as he saw her, but he did not move aggressively. He simply stood there, watching, curious and calm. Lyra crouched behind a crystal trunk. She could feel her pulse in her throat. Humans were rare, almost unheard of on her planet. They were explorers, visitors from distant worlds, and sometimes they brought trouble. She had heard stories from travelers who had escaped human interference. Yet there was something about him. He looked cautious, respectful. Lyra took a deep breath and whispered to herself, "Why is he here?" The human moved carefully, studying the ruins without touching anything. He seemed more interested in understanding the place than in conquering it. That made Lyra's curiosity grow even as fear tried to take hold. For a moment, they simply observed each other. She from the shadows, he from the open path. Then, as if sensing her hesitation, he stepped closer, tilting his head as he examined the intricate carvings on the ruins' walls. His fingers hovered over the patterns, but he did not touch them. Lyra's curiosity overcame her fear. She stepped out, her presence sudden, and the human froze. His eyes widened in surprise, but he did not run. He raised his hands slightly, a universal gesture of peace. I mean, no harm," he said in a language Lyra recognized from the old human transmissions she had studied. "I'm just exploring. I am Ethan." Lyra's eyes narrowed. She had studied humans but never met one. "You should not be here," she replied cautiously. Her voice was calm but firm. "This place is dangerous, and visitors are not welcome." Ethan nodded slowly. "I understand. I just want to learn. I've come a long way to see this world, to understand it. I am not your enemy." Lyra tilted her head, studying him. He seemed honest, but she knew better than to trust appearances. The ruins had traps, and the forest itself could be unforgiving. She decided to test him. "Follow me," she said suddenly, turning and moving through the twisted paths between the crystals. She knew he would follow. Humans were persistent. Sure enough, after a moment of hesitation, he began to follow, carefully and silently, his eyes wide with wonder. Lyra led him deeper into the forest, through narrow tunnels formed naturally between the crystal trees. She moved with grace, her movements almost like a dance, navigating traps and hidden pitfalls. Ethan mirrored her steps, clever and quick, avoiding the obvious dangers she had carefully noted. Lyra was surprised. Humans were not as strong as her people, nor as fast, but they had a sharp mind. His eyes scanned every detail, and his hands were ready to act. He seemed to understand the environment instinctively. As they moved, Lyra spoke softly. "Why do you come here? Humans usually avoid these worlds. They are too dangerous, too different." Ethan smiled faintly. "Different is why I came. I want to see the beauty of your planet, The ruins, the history. Not all humans are conquerors. Some of us want to understand. Lyra studied him, intrigued. There was truth in his words. Many humans she had learned about were reckless. But Ethan, he had patience, curiosity without greed. That was rare. They reached a clearing where the ruins opened into a small courtyard. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the ground, reacting to their presence. Lyra crouched, examining the patterns. "These symbols," she whispered, "they are old, very old. They carry warnings." Ethan knelt beside her, looking closely. "I've seen similar symbols in Earth's ancient texts," he said. "They might be protective, or they might hold information. Can you read them?" Lyra shook her head. "Partially. They are complex. Even my people forget some of their meanings. But yes, they warn travelers. This place is not just old. It is alive, in a way." Ethan's eyes lit with interest. "Alive? You mean, like energy? Or conscious?" Lyra shrugged. "Both, perhaps. The crystals react to movement, to touch. To life itself? They can guide or mislead. Be careful." For the first time, Lyra felt something strange, an unfamiliar sense of connection. She realized she did not want to send him away. Humans were unpredictable, but Ethan was different. He did not seem to fear or disrespect the world around him. Suddenly, the ground trembled lightly. Lyra's ears twitched. "We should move," she said urgently. "The ruins are sensitive. Some places should never be disturbed." Ethan followed immediately. As they ran, the walls of the ruins seemed to shift slightly, crystals catching light in ways that made the paths confusing. Lyra's heart raced. She had never felt the ruins react so strongly. Something about Ethan's presence amplified the energy. They reached another narrow passage where the crystals formed a tunnel high above their heads. Lyra glanced behind her and froze. A flicker of movement caught her eye. The human had paused, examining a strange engraving. His face was illuminated by the soft glow. Lyra could see his awe, his wonder. He was cautious, yes, but brave. And at that moment, she realized something important. Humans could surprise her. She shook her head slightly, laughing softly to herself. "Curiosity," she whispered. "It is not just dangerous. It can be enlightening." Ethan looked at her, sensing her amusement. "Do you trust me?" he asked quietly. Lyra considered it. "Not yet," she said honestly. "But I am curious about you. That is rare for my people." They continued moving deeper into the ruins. The air grew warmer, charged with energy. Strange patterns floated in the air, faintly glowing. Lyra's body tensed. The ruins themselves seemed alive, watching, waiting. Ethan noticed her vigilance. "Are you afraid?" he asked. Lyra shook her head. "No, cautious. This place does not forgive mistakes, not even small ones. But you are different. I can feel it. Maybe you can survive where others would fail." Ethan smiled faintly. "Then I will do my best." They reached the central chamber of the ruins, a massive space filled with crystals rising like pillars into the sky. The walls shimmered with faint, moving light. Lyra stepped forward, awe in her eyes. She had seen this place many times, in legends and in dreams, but being here now with another being, it felt new. Ethan followed, his eyes wide. "It is beautiful," he whispered. "Nothing like I've ever seen." Lyra nodded, feeling a strange sense of partnership forming. "Yes, but it is dangerous. We must be careful." As they explored, Lyra felt a presence behind her again. Her muscles tensed. She turned, but this time it was not a threat. The human was already there, silently observing, respecting her space. And in that moment, Lyra realized something extraordinary. Perhaps humans were not just survivors, or explorers, or outsiders. Perhaps they could be allies. Perhaps they could even teach her people something new. The crystal forest shimmered around them, ancient and alive. And for the first time, Lyra did not feel alone in it. She looked at Ethan, a small smile forming. "Very well, human," she said softly. "Let us see what secrets this place holds. Together." The ruins seemed to hum in response, as if acknowledging the new partnership. And so, in the heart of a dangerous alien world, an alien girl and a human began their story. One that would test courage, trust, and the very limits of discovery. The crystal forest stretched endlessly before Lyra and Ethan, each tree catching the light and scattering it like diamonds. The ruins beneath them had opened into a maze of glowing tunnels, twisting and turning like the roots of some ancient sleeping giant. Lyra's steps were careful, precise, her long fingers brushing lightly against the walls, feeling the energy humming in the stones. Ethan followed closely, his eyes wide but alert, scanning every corner, every shadow. "You move like the wind," Ethan whispered, struggling to keep pace. His words were filled with both awe and nervousness. "How do you know where to go?" Lyra did not answer at once. She slowed, turning her head just slightly to look at him. "I can feel it," she said simply. "This place guides those who know how to listen. But it can also trick the careless." Ethan frowned. "Trick them?" "Yes," Lyra said. "The ruins are alive in a way. The crystals respond to movement, to energy, to intention. They can guide you to safety or to danger." Ethan swallowed, but he did not stop. His curiosity outweighed his fear, and Lyra found herself both impressed and cautious. Humans were persistent, she knew, but most were reckless. Ethan was different. Suddenly, a soft vibration ran through the ground beneath them. Lyra froze, her ears twitching. The hum of energy in the walls intensified, and the crystals glowed brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. "Something's coming," she whispered. "We must move." They ran, Lyra leading the way through narrow passages, her movements graceful and precise. Ethan mirrored her steps as best he could, using his tools to leap over small chasms and avoid the jagged crystal spikes that jutted from the walls. The tunnels twisted unpredictably, and Lyra's senses were stretched to their limits. A faint hiss echoed behind them. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. She stopped suddenly, pressing herself against the wall. Ethan stumbled, but caught himself just in time. "What is it?" he asked, eyes wide. Lyra's eyes scanned the tunnel. "Traps," she said. "They react to movement. Some are harmless. Others could be deadly." Ethan nodded, crouching low. He studied the floor and walls, noticing tiny grooves and patterns. "I think I can figure it out," he said quietly, determination in his voice. "Just tell me what to watch for." Lyra raised an eyebrow. Humans were clever, she realized, but he had little experience in a world like this. Still, she decided to give him a chance. "Watch the glow," she instructed. "If it pulses fast, it's dangerous. Step carefully. If it's steady, you can move." Ethan nodded, moving slowly but confidently. To Lyra's surprise, he navigated the tunnels with remarkable skill. His hands brushed over the glowing walls, sensing vibrations that Lyra had not even noticed. She found herself impressed. "You are learning fast," she admitted. Ethan smiled faintly. "I have to," he said. "Otherwise, I would be lost." They continued through the twisting tunnels, the hum of energy growing louder. Lyra's instincts told her they were nearing the heart of the ruins, a place few had ever reached, and with every step, the air seemed heavier, charged with power. Suddenly, the tunnel opened into a vast cavern. Crystals soared from the floor to the ceiling, their surfaces reflecting light in dazzling patterns. The air vibrated with energy, and faint symbols floated above the ground, glowing softly. Lyra stepped forward cautiously, her eyes scanning the patterns. "This is the central chamber," she whispered. "The energy here is strong. It can help or harm." Ethan moved beside her, awe written across his face. "It's beautiful," he murmured, "like a city of light." Lyra's attention was drawn to a specific crystal at the center of the chamber. It glowed brighter than the others, pulsing rhythmically. She approached it carefully. "This crystal, it's alive," she said. "It holds knowledge, but it will not share it easily." Ethan knelt beside her. "Knowledge? Like a record? Or memories?" "Both," Lyra said. "It is an artifact from the Ancient Ones. They created these ruins and their energy lives on, but many have tried to take it and failed. Some never returned." Ethan's eyes widened. "Then we must be careful." Lyra nodded, sensing his sincerity. "Yes, but we must also be clever. The artifact can help my people. And perhaps it can help yours too." Ethan studied the crystal, reaching out cautiously. Lyra's hand hovered near his, stopping him. "Not yet," she warned. "The crystal tests those who approach it. It senses intent. If it finds greed or fear, it can reject you." Ethan nodded, lowering his hand. "I understand. I just want to learn. To help." Lyra studied him for a long moment. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but she could feel his honesty. Perhaps he was worthy. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A low, mechanical growl echoed through the cavern. Lyra's eyes widened. "The Guardian," she whispered. From the shadows, a massive construct emerged. It was unlike anything Lyra had ever seen, part machine, part crystal, pulsing with energy. Its eyes glowed bright blue, and it moved with deliberate precision, scanning the chamber. Ethan instinctively stepped back, but Lyra moved forward, her body tense. "We must be clever," she said. "It protects the artifact. It will not stop until we leave or fail." Ethan's mind raced. He had seen machines before, but this was different. "Maybe we can trick it," he said quietly. "I notice patterns in its movement. If we distract it, we might reach the crystal." Lyra studied him. "Humans are unpredictable," she murmured, "but clever. Very well. Lead the way." Together they moved carefully, using the shadows of the cavern to stay out of the Guardian's path. Lyra's agility and knowledge of the terrain allowed her to navigate tight spaces, while Ethan's quick thinking and tools helped them avoid detection. The Guardian's eyes swept the chamber, glowing brighter each time it detected movement. Lyra held her breath, guiding Ethan with subtle hand signals. They moved in silence, the tension almost unbearable. At last, they reached the central crystal. Lyra placed her hand gently on its surface, feeling the hum of energy pulse through her. The Guardian paused, tilting its head as if sensing something new. Ethan joined her, careful not to touch the crystal directly. "I can feel it too," he whispered. "It's alive." Lyra nodded. "Yes, but it will only respond to those it trusts. And it is testing us now." The Guardian moved closer, but it did not attack. Lyra's instincts told her it was evaluating them, sensing their intent. She looked at Ethan, and he nodded back. Together, they projected calm, honest energy, showing the artifact that they were not threats. Slowly, the Guardian's eyes dimmed slightly, and the crystal's glow intensified. A soft hum filled the chamber, as if welcoming their presence. Lyra smiled faintly. "It recognizes us," she whispered. Ethan exhaled, relief evident on his face. "That was intense." Lyra laughed softly. "This is only the beginning," she said. "The ruins hold many secrets, and we have just started to uncover them." For the first time, Lyra felt a strange sense of partnership. Humans were different, yes, but Ethan had proven his courage, his cleverness, and his honesty. Perhaps, she thought, humans were not just outsiders. Perhaps they could be allies, if they were trusted. The crystal chamber pulsed with energy, reflecting the bond forming between them, and as Lyra looked at Ethan, she knew that their journey had only just begun. Together they would face the dangers of the ruins, uncover its secrets, and discover that even in a world so strange and alive, cooperation could be the greatest strength. And somewhere deep within the cavern, the Guardian observed silently, a silent witness to the unusual partnership between an alien girl and a human who had dared to step where few could survive. Lyra looked behind her one last time and smiled. The human was already there. The central chamber hummed with energy, a soft pulse that seemed to match the rhythm of Lyra's heartbeat. The crystals around them glowed brighter with every step they took, and the air itself felt alive. Lyra's violet eyes scanned the space, alert for any danger, while Ethan crouched near a cluster of crystals, examining their patterns with careful attention. "This place," Ethan whispered almost to himself. "It's more than ruins. It's alive, and it's protecting something." Lyra nodded. "Yes, but not everything here is meant to be seen. The Ancient Ones left warnings, traps, tests. Few who enter survive unscathed, and fewer still understand what they find." Ethan looked at her, curiosity shining in his eyes. "What do they want you to understand?" Lyra hesitated. The truth was complicated. Some of the artifacts held knowledge that could change worlds, but such knowledge came with risk. She did not fully trust humans or any outsider, but something about Ethan felt different. He had respect for her world, and that was rare. "Follow me," she said, moving carefully toward a raised platform at the center of the chamber. The platform glowed faintly, covered in strange, intricate symbols. "There is something here, an artifact. It holds power and knowledge, but it tests those who approach it." Ethan rose and followed, eyes wide with awe. "Power and knowledge? Like a weapon?" Lyra shook her head. "Not a weapon, not exactly, but what it contains can enhance understanding, increase intelligence, connect minds, even save lives if used wisely. But in the wrong hands..." She left the thought unfinished. Ethan stepped closer, careful to avoid disturbing the glowing symbols. "Then we must be careful. I will not take it for myself. I only want to learn and help." Lyra studied him closely. Humans often claimed such things, but greed or fear often showed sooner or later. Yet Ethan's sincerity was clear. She decided he might be worthy of the artifact's knowledge. But the trial had not begun yet. As they approached the artifact, the air shifted. A soft vibration pulsed beneath their feet, and the crystals surrounding the platform began to shimmer with a new intensity. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "The artifact is aware," she whispered. "It can sense intent. If it finds greed, fear, or ill will, it will reject you. And it does not forgive mistakes." Ethan nodded. "Then I will be honest. I will not lie, and I will not act out of fear." Lyra glanced at him, impressed. Few outsiders could show such honesty in a world like this. "Very well," she said. "Then let us proceed together." The platform's glow intensified, forming a faint, pulsing light around their hands as they drew closer. Lyra placed her hand lightly on the surface. The crystal beneath her fingers seemed to hum in response, vibrating softly, alive with energy. Ethan mirrored her, careful not to press too hard. Suddenly, images flickered in their minds, visions of the planet as it had been centuries ago. Cities of crystal and light, beings working together in harmony, and then slowly, the decay of the world, natural disasters, and the loss of knowledge. The artifact showed them the rise and fall of civilizations, warning them of what could happen if wisdom was forgotten. Lyra gasped softly. It remembers everything. The ancient ones. They wanted their knowledge preserved. But only for those who proved themselves worthy. Ethan's eyes widened as he saw glimpses of human history interwoven with these alien visions. It's teaching us, showing us mistakes to avoid, not just power, but responsibility. Lyra nodded. Yes, the artifact is more than knowledge. It is a test of character, and it is judging us now. A low vibration ran through the chamber. The Guardian drone, which had been watching silently from the shadows, moved closer. Its eyes glowed bright blue, scanning them intently. Lyra's heart raced. This was not just a test of intelligence. It was a test of courage, teamwork, and intent. Ethan whispered, "We need to show it we can work together, that we trust each other." Lyra glanced at him, a faint smile forming. "Then we must synchronize our thoughts, our intentions. Only then will it respond fully." They focused together, Lyra guiding the flow of energy with her senses, Ethan channeling his own determination and honesty into the process. Slowly, the artifact responded, the glow intensifying, sending waves of light through the chamber. The Guardian's movement slowed, and its eyes dimmed slightly, signaling recognition. The crystal's hum shifted into a soft voice in their minds, not words, but understanding. Knowledge flowed into them. Maps of hidden tunnels, designs for energy devices, ways to harness the planet's natural power without destroying it. Lyra felt her mind expand with understanding, and she sensed Ethan's mind doing the same. Humans could grasp patterns, make connections in ways her people sometimes overlooked. Ethan gasped, stepping back slightly. "It's incredible. I've never felt anything like this before." Lyra nodded, her eyes glowing faintly with energy. "It is not just learning, it is teaching, and it trusts us. For now." The Guardian drone tilted its head, then retreated slightly, giving them space. Lyra knew the artifact's trial was not yet over, but the first test had been passed. "Ethan," she said quietly, "this artifact could help my people survive. The environment is changing rapidly. Resources are scarce. If used wisely, it could restore balance, but if misused, it could destroy everything." Ethan looked at her seriously. "Then we must protect it. Together." Lyra nodded. "Yes. And perhaps humans have more to offer than I thought. Courage, honesty, cleverness. You are not like others I have heard about." Ethan smiled faintly. "And you are not like any alien I've read about. You're brave, wise, and cautious. We make a good team." Their bond strengthened in that moment, an unspoken understanding forming between them. Both knew that the artifact was only the beginning. There were still dangers lurking, and the knowledge they gained came with responsibility. Suddenly, a soft mechanical click echoed through the chamber. Lyra's ears twitched. "Someone else, or something else, is approaching," she warned. Ethan's eyes narrowed. "We need to move quickly. Take what we can learn, but stay alert." They carefully accessed more of the artifact's energy, absorbing knowledge while remaining aware of their surroundings. The crystals around them pulsed, responding to their intentions, revealing hidden compartments and secret symbols that hinted at even greater mysteries. Lyra realized that the ruins had been designed not only to preserve knowledge, but to evaluate those who sought it. Every step, every thought, every action mattered, and the human, Ethan, had proven himself capable not just in intellect but in character. Finally, after what felt like hours, they paused, both exhausted but exhilarated. The artifact's glow dimmed slightly, as if resting. Lyra turned to Ethan. "You have done well," she said. "Humans often underestimate themselves. But you adapt, you learn, and you act with honor. That is something my people can respect." Ethan chuckled softly. "And you see more than most aliens would. You judge not by appearances, but by actions. That is rare." Lyra nodded. "Perhaps. We have much to teach each other. This planet, these ruins, they may be the beginning of something larger. A chance for our species to learn from each other." Ethan's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Then we should keep exploring. There's so much more to understand, so many secrets to uncover." Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes, but we must proceed with caution. Not everything here is safe. The artifact is only the first step, and it has judged us worthy. For now." They exchanged a look of mutual respect, understanding that their partnership was more than coincidence. It was a choice, a deliberate decision to trust each other in a world filled with unknown dangers and possibilities. The chamber's energy hummed around them, a silent reminder that knowledge came with responsibility, and that the ruins themselves were alive, watching, and waiting for those brave enough to continue. Lyra glanced behind her at the human. He was already there, steadfast, curious, and ready for whatever came next. And for the first time, she felt hope that humans and her species could face the future together. The ruins were full of secrets, and the artifact had shown them only the beginning. But one thing was clear: courage, intelligence, and trust could bridge worlds. And in the heart of the crystal forest, an alien girl and a human stood side by side, ready to discover what lay beyond, together. The central chamber was alive with pulsing light, but a new tension hung in the air. Lyra and Ethan had barely begun to understand the artifact when a low mechanical hum echoed through the cavern. The Guardian drone, massive and glimmering with crystal and metal, emerged from the shadows. Its eyes glowed bright blue, scanning the chamber with relentless precision. Lyra froze, her senses alert. "It has returned," she whispered, "and this time, it will test us." Ethan instinctively stepped closer to her. "We can handle it," he said, though his voice betrayed the tension he felt. He had seen machines before, but none like this. Its size, intelligence, and speed were beyond anything Earth had built. Lyra studied the Guardian carefully. "It will not attack without reason, but it will challenge us. It will test our teamwork, our courage, and our ability to think under pressure." The Guardian moved forward, its massive frame reflecting the crystal lights around them. Each step resonated through the floor, vibrating in rhythm with the energy of the artifact. Lyra's instincts told her that a direct fight would be useless. This was not a battle of strength. It was a test of strategy. "Follow my lead," Lyra whispered to Ethan. "We must work together, or we will fail." Ethan nodded. "Tell me what to do." Lyra moved first, weaving through the crystalline pillars with agility and grace. The Guardian's eyes followed her every move, its sensors tracking the faintest vibrations. Ethan moved beside her, carefully analyzing the patterns of the chamber. He noticed small differences in the Guardian's steps, subtle clues that hinted at its next move. "Look," Ethan whispered. "Its left sensor flickers just before it moves. If we anticipate it, we can stay ahead." Lyra nodded, impressed. Humans were not fast, but their minds worked differently. They could notice patterns and connections her people often missed. "Good," she said. "We will use that." Together, they began a careful dance. Lyra led, moving quickly between pillars, drawing the Guardian's attention while Ethan calculated paths and possible traps. The chamber seemed to shift with their movements, the crystals glowing brighter, responding to the Guardian's presence and their own energy. The Guardian suddenly lunged, its crystal-clad arm swinging toward them. Lyra jumped just in time, narrowly avoiding a crushing strike. Ethan rolled to the side, using his tool to anchor himself against a pillar. He realized the Guardian reacted faster than they had anticipated. "It adapts," he shouted. "It learns from our movements." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Yes, and that means we must be clever. Predictability will get us caught." They split briefly, moving in opposite directions to confuse the Guardian. Lyra darted along a narrow ledge, while Ethan activated a small device that emitted a low-frequency pulse, creating a temporary distraction. The Guardian paused, its sensors flickering as it adjusted to the sudden anomaly. Lyra took advantage of the pause, signaling Ethan to follow her toward the artifact. But the Guardian quickly recalibrated, its massive frame blocking their path. It seemed to anticipate their every move, forcing them to retreat. Ethan's mind raced. "We need a new plan. We can't outrun it forever." Lyra nodded. "Then we must outthink it. Use the environment." She scanned the chamber and noticed a series of narrow crystal bridges overhead. "We can use the bridges," she said. "It cannot follow us there easily, but it will try to disrupt them." Ethan looked up. "Then we can create a diversion. I can use my tools to shift the crystal formations slightly, making it think the bridges are unstable." Lyra smiled faintly. "Good. Then we act together. Timing is everything." They moved in unison. Lyra ran along a lower path, keeping the Guardian's attention focused on her movements. Ethan activated his device, sending vibrations through the crystals above. The Guardian hesitated, its sensors detecting instability. Lyra leapt onto one of the narrow bridges, landing gracefully. Ethan followed, carefully adjusting the crystals to maintain the illusion. The Guardian lunged, but the bridges were narrow, and it could not follow without risking damage. It paused, assessing the situation, and the artifact pulsed in response. Lyra and Ethan exchanged a quick glance, understanding that the Guardian's hesitation was their opportunity. They moved quickly, using the bridges to circle around the Guardian. Lyra led the way, her body a blur as she navigated the shifting paths. Ethan followed, his mind calculating the next move, ready to adjust the crystals to maintain their advantage. The Guardian attempted to follow, its massive frame causing cracks and vibrations in the bridges. Lyra and Ethan pushed forward, their combined effort allowing them to stay just out of reach. The chamber seemed to respond to their teamwork, the crystals pulsing in rhythm with their movements, almost as if encouraging them. Finally, they reached a narrow platform directly in front of the artifact. Lyra touched the glowing crystal, feeling its energy surge through her. Ethan joined her, and together they focused, channeling their combined determination and honesty into the artifact. The Guardian moved one last time, lunging toward them with a bright flash of energy. But the artifact responded, emitting a wave of light that enveloped the chamber. The Guardian's attack was absorbed and its sensors flickered. Slowly, it stepped back, its eyes dimming, signaling recognition. Lyra exhaled, relief flooding her senses. "It has accepted us," she whispered. "We have passed the test." Ethan smiled, exhausted but exhilarated. "That was incredible. I've never worked with anything like that before." Lyra nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and wonder. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but their minds could adapt in ways her species could not always foresee. Courage, cleverness, and honesty. These were qualities that could bridge worlds. The Guardian retreated to the shadows, its presence still felt but no longer threatening. The artifact pulsed gently, as if acknowledging their success. Lyra looked at Ethan, a faint smile forming. "You have proven yourself," she said. "Humans often underestimate themselves, but you adapt, you learn, and you act with honor. That is something my people can respect." Ethan chuckled softly. "And you? You see more than most aliens would. You judge not by appearances, but by actions. That is rare. Lyra nodded. Perhaps. We have much to teach each other. This planet, these ruins, they may be the beginning of something larger, a chance for our species to learn from each other. Ethan's eyes sparkled with excitement. Then we should keep exploring. There's so much more to understand. So many secrets to uncover. Lyra smiled faintly. Yes, but we must proceed with caution. Not everything here is safe. The artifact is only the first step, and it has judged us worthy, for now. As they rested briefly, the chamber's hum shifted again. Lyra realized that their journey was far from over. The ruins had more challenges ahead, more tests of courage and intellect. And though they had succeeded this time, the artifact would continue to watch, continuing to judge, teaching, and guiding. Ethan studied the glowing crystals. Do you think there are more guardians? Lyra's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Perhaps. The artifact is part of a network. It protects knowledge, yes, but it also ensures that only the worthy can access it. Each guardian is a test, an opportunity to learn, to prove oneself. Ethan nodded, determination settling in his expression. Then we will face them together. Whatever comes, we can do it. Lyra looked at him, a small smile forming. Yes, together. The chamber pulsed with light, and the Guardian watched silently from the shadows. For the first time, Lyra felt a strange sense of hope. Humans were not just visitors. They could be allies, partners, and even teachers in their own way. Courage, intelligence, and trust could bridge worlds. And in the heart of the Crystal Forest, an alien girl and a human prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead, side by side. The ruins had tested them, and they had passed. But the adventure was far from over. Lyra glanced behind her. The human was already there, steadfast, curious, and ready for the next challenge. Together they stepped forward, deeper into the unknown. The ruins pulsed with energy, whispering secrets and warnings, as if inviting them to continue. And for the first time, Lyra believed that humans and her people could truly learn from each other, survive together, and perhaps even thrive. The test had ended. The real journey was about to begin. The central chamber was quiet now, the glow of the artifact filling the space with a gentle, steady light. Lyra and Ethan stood side by side, catching their breath after the intense trials of the Guardian and the artifact. The air still hummed softly with energy, but it no longer felt threatening. It felt alive, welcoming, and full of potential. Lyra gazed at the artifact, feeling the flow of knowledge and understanding coursing through her. She had seen so much, the history of her planet, the rise and fall of civilizations, and the wisdom of the ancient ones. But she also knew that knowledge without action was meaningless. The real challenge lay ahead, using this gift wisely to help her people survive and thrive. Ethan watched her, eyes wide with wonder. "This is incredible," he said. "I never imagined anything like it. It's like holding the knowledge of 1,000 worlds in your hands." Lyra smiled faintly. "It is not just knowledge, it is responsibility, and responsibility is heavy." Ethan nodded. "Then we carry it together. I may be human and you may be alien, but we can work as a team. We've already proven that." Lyra looked at him, the trust between them stronger than ever. "Yes, together. But first, we must return to my people. They are struggling. The planet is changing, and they need guidance, not just technology." The journey back through the Crystal Forest was tense but hopeful. Lyra moved with confidence, guiding Ethan carefully along safe paths while he used his ingenuity to help navigate obstacles. The ruins seemed almost alive, pulsing gently as if acknowledging their success. They passed through narrow tunnels and shimmering bridges, the glow of the crystals lighting their way like a beacon. When they finally emerged into the open expanse of Lyra's world, the landscape stretched before them in all its alien beauty. Towering crystal formations rose against the sky, and distant mountains shimmered with energy. But Lyra's eyes were drawn to her people, small clusters moving through the terrain, their faces worried, scanning the horizon for signs of danger. "They have been waiting," Lyra said softly. "They sense change. The planet is unstable. Resources are dwindling. Without guidance, many will suffer." Ethan studied the scene. "Then we must act quickly. Can the artifact help?" Lyra nodded. "Yes. But it cannot do everything alone. It can guide, teach, and show solutions, but we must implement them. That is where we and my people come in." She raised her voice, calling to the approaching groups. "Listen, I have knowledge from the Ancient Ones. There is a way to restore balance to protect our world, but we must work together, carefully, wisely, and with courage." The alien crowd paused, eyes wide in astonishment. They were wary of outsiders, and yet Lyra's presence inspired confidence. She turned to Ethan. "Show them what you have learned, human. Demonstrate that your skills and your mind can help, not harm." Ethan stepped forward, nervous but determined. He explained to the alien leaders the patterns he had seen, the potential of the planet's energy, and how the artifact could guide their efforts. He demonstrated simple techniques to harness the energy safely, creating small pulses of light that controlled unstable crystal formations without damaging the environment. The aliens watched in awe. Many whispered among themselves, skeptical at first, but the results were undeniable. The planet's natural energy responded to their careful efforts, stabilizing unstable regions and guiding growth where it was needed. Lyra observed their reactions, heart swelling with hope. "This is remarkable," she said quietly to Ethan. "Your people, your skills, they are valuable. Perhaps we have underestimated humans." Ethan smiled. "And your people, Lyra, you are brilliant, wise, and adaptable. Together we can do much more than either of us alone." Over the following days, Lyra and Ethan worked tirelessly with the alien leaders and the artifact. They mapped unstable zones, developed energy patterns to restore balance, and shared knowledge that had been lost for centuries. The planet responded slowly at first, then with increasing vitality. Rivers glowed faintly with controlled energy, crystal forests grew stronger, and the air felt lighter, charged with life. Lyra noticed a change in her people, too. They began to trust Ethan, not just as an outsider, but as a partner. His courage, patience, and willingness to learn earned their respect. Many approached him with questions, and he answered carefully, showing humility and intelligence. One evening, after a long day of work, Lyra and Ethan stood on a high cliff, overlooking the landscape. The twin suns were setting, casting colors across the sky that neither of them had words to describe. The world looked alive, vibrant, and full of hope. Lyra sighed softly. "We have done well, but the work is far from finished. This planet will always have challenges, but now we have the means to face them." Ethan nodded. "And we'll face them together. Humans and your people, working side by side. We can learn from each other, grow together, and protect this world." Lyra glanced at him, a faint smile forming. "Perhaps humans are more than visitors. Perhaps you are allies, partners, even teachers in your own way. You have courage, intelligence, and honesty. Qualities my people sometimes forget in our pursuit of knowledge." Ethan chuckled softly. "And your people, you see things we often overlook, the patterns, the energy, the connections. You have wisdom that surpasses technology. Together, we complement each other." Lyra felt a deep sense of hope. For the first time, She believed that collaboration between species could change the course of a world. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but their creativity and moral strength were invaluable. The artifact pulsed gently between them, a silent witness to their partnership. Lyra reached out and touched it again, feeling the flow of energy. She knew it would continue to teach and guide them, but the real change came from the cooperation and trust they had built. Ethan stood beside her, eyes reflecting the light of the artifact and the twin suns. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "There are more worlds, more mysteries, more challenges, but we've proven that humans and your people can succeed together." Lyra nodded. "Yes, and we will continue, step by step, challenge by challenge. With courage, intelligence, and trust, we can achieve greatness." The alien leaders gathered around them, nodding in agreement. They recognized the value of the human, the strength of cooperation, and the promise of a future where their people could survive and thrive. Lyra felt a surge of pride, not just in herself, but in the bond they had created. For the first time, she looked at Ethan without caution, without hesitation. The human had earned her trust, her respect, and a place by her side. Together, they had navigated danger, solved challenges, and brought hope to her world. The crystal forest around them shimmered in approval, as if the planet itself recognized the new alliance. Lyra's heart swelled with optimism. The trials had been difficult, the challenges immense, but they had succeeded, not because of strength alone, but because of courage, honesty, and teamwork. Ethan looked at the horizon, the twin suns casting long shadows across the landscape. "Lyra," he said softly, "whatever comes next, we face it together. Humans and your people, partners, allies, and friends." Lyra smiled. "Yes, together." And so, in the heart of a world once forgotten, an alien girl and a human forged a bond that would change their worlds forever. The artifact had shown them knowledge, but it was their courage, intelligence, and trust that had made the difference. The ruins hummed with life around them, but no longer did they feel threatening. Instead, they were a place of hope, a symbol of what could be achieved when different worlds worked together. Lyra looked at Ethan one last time, knowing that their partnership was not just a chance encounter, it was destiny. The human was already there, steadfast, courageous, and ready. And together, they stepped into the future, ready to face any challenge, unlock any secret, and prove that collaboration, intelligence, and moral strength could bridge worlds and change them forever. The story ended not with a final battle, but with a beginning of unity, hope, and the promise that humans and aliens alike could rise to greatness when they trusted each other.